much for providing me the opportunity to testify in support of Assembly Bill 584, and I appreciate your scheduling this hearing and the attention of committee members. You've just heard the powerful testimony of a lady who has gone through something that we can only imagine, and I can tell you that there's others in this room who have gone through similar tragedies who you will also hear from. But we are here. This is in the scheme of things, I consider DNA testing relatively new technology. And I do see it as Ms. Sethers mentioned, it's the 21st century identifier. But this is legislation that I've authored because I think it is about truth and justice. And clearly, DNA testing has been shown to save lives, save money, exonerate the wrongly accused, ensures a better streamlined process of collecting DNA samples, and it provides relief to those families who have gone through tragedy. And so, you know, as you hear testimony today, I would be happy to answer questions that you might have. But this is about using DNA to not only find a true perpetrator, but also in cases finding someone who has been wrongly accused. And in some cases, we have people who have served as many as 10, 11 years in prison, and DNA shows that they are innocent. I'm reminded of the example, I don't believe Jan shared this with you this morning, but the example of an individual who was a convicted felon. And he had turned his life around. He had gotten a job, gotten remarried, and was on the right track. And there were some rapes. There was a serial rapist that was committing rapes in that community. And law enforcement was convinced that it was this convicted felon. They were on their way to bring him in for questioning when they ran a test on DNA and found that he was not the perpetrator. So he was not aware that they were even investigating him or even considering that he was that rapist. But because they were able to verify that he was not the rapist, he was able to continue his life. Exactly what we want to encourage convicted felons, to enable them to turn their lives around. So DNA testing can not only be used to find that person, and it is in and of itself, it is simply that, it is an identifier. You still have to, law enforcement still has to build a case around that. But it also, just as importantly, can be utilized to ensure that an innocent person is not wrongly convicted. And so we have, because obviously there is legitimate concerns with the potential cost of processing and collecting the samples, given our financial situation in the state, we are drafting an amended version of the bill before you. And the amended version would proposes to create a pilot program. There is $1 million in the office of OJA that we are proposing, that is federal funds that if it's not utilized by February 1st of 2013 would be returned to the federal government. And we are proposing that those dollars be transferred to the Department of Justice to utilize on a pilot program. We have narrowed the crimes to those, it would be effective when, for adults that are arrested on certain felony charges. And these are charges, are primarily those classified as violent crimes under state statutes, along with additional offenses that are considered particularly dangerous to society. And so come February 1st, the pilot would end unless the dollars ran out prior to that, it would end earlier, or unless the Department of Justice found additional dollars to extend the program. Following that time, there would be a 60-day period of which there would be a study to evaluate the pilot program to determine the number of hits and the number of arrests.